All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Primetime Podcast with your hosts Matt Burns and Jacob Miller. Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Very happy to have our first guest, Landon Standish. Landon, how are you doing?
Very, very excited to have Landon on here with us. How you doing, Landon?
I'm doing good, doing good. Glad to be on here.
Yes, sir. It's good to have you here. Quick rundown for the last episode in case you guys didn't get to see it. It was just me. Jacob was moving and all that, so he left me alone. So I did a quick breakdown of the ASA shoot down last week and the whole weekend. So let me know how you guys like that format, how I did it, and went over USA Archery and the standings for that. So just let me know what you guys think of that, and Jacob and I can try to do more formats like that in the future. So our guest today is Landon. Quick rundown of him for events and sponsors. Sponsors, he has Gas, Stand Releases, Hamsky, Boning, and Shrewd. And his career highlights 2019 ASA Classic Open C second place, 2021 Foley ASA Known 40 third place, and then 2024 Foley K45 second place, ASA Classic K45 third place, 2024 NFAA Indoor Nationals champion.
Hoo-hoo.
And then this past year, most recent, 2026, third place at the Lancaster Classic. So Landon, if you want to give a background as to, who the hell you are, um, get into that, your intro to archery, and if you want to go into like a year where you may have had some struggle, we just listed off a career highlight. So if you want to go through a year where you struggled a little bit and then kind of figure out a way to bounce back from that.
Yeah, so I started back in 2014 when I was about 12 or 13 years old in fifth grade. My school had a S30A team, and that was the only thing our school had for a sport. So I just kind of jumped on it on a whim, and being left-handed, it was like even hard to find equipment. So like I remember the first practice, they only had like a bare bow that was like 5 pounds, and we were shooting at like 5 yards, and I missed the balloon at 5 yards. And it took me forever to even hit that. And then I finally got a setup rolling. We went to a lot of S30A stuff at states. Went to nationals my first year in sixth grade. Um, didn't really do well, but I really got caught just my interest for it. And then seventh grade, I won S30A 3D nationals in middle school. And kind of at that point, I kind of started getting really into it. And at that point, I was shooting every ASA, shooting middle school pins. I think I got like third or second shoot of the year that year in eighth grade going into that next year. And then I transitioned into open in high school. I felt confident enough to move over. I was at a place skill set wise, I was intrigued in it. And then open humbled me quickly and pretty much took about 4 steps back to figure out the rocket science of open because it is a never ending experiment. Jumped into shooting indoors at that point. Was not really great at it. Didn't really care. I was a 3D shooter through and through. I really was like I really didn't even
Your
touch indoors.
resume, from what I just read off, says otherwise.
I know, and it's changed over the years. And like you said, it said open C. I dabbled with unknown for a while. High school open and ASA changed from half and half in high school, which I still think it should be. I always think it should be half and half because
And
then
for viewers, was Open Sea, how was the half and half known
it was
unknown?
all unknown at that
Was
point.
it like what was the max distance
It was
from
40, so it's open
40?
40 now. That's what it's called
Yeah.
now. But it used to be half and half in high school. They changed it to either are all known. I didn't like that, so and I was really good at unknown at the time, so I swapped. Had a year, then I started looking into college archery. College archery is all known, so I had to figure that game out quick. So I jumped back to known. Senior year in high school, I started really getting my feet in the door. Shot 40 up my first shoot that year in senior year of high school in K40. At that time, it wasn't a shoot of the year class. So once you hit your 600 bucks, you were gone. So I classed out in 3 shoots and then went to college in K45. Um, and kind of just took off from there. And then I really got into indoors and because you have to for college. And Matt, you
You can
know that
also can also tell with all those targets on the wall you got back
yeah,
there.
I mean, like you shoot indoors constantly, like
There's
in
quite a few
college
checks
you
up
just
there
do.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most of those are 3D. Funny enough, except the one over there. That one's Lancaster. I really just found a passion for indoors because it's the most humble discipline out of all of it. You can't blame the weather, the humidity, the lighting. I didn't see where I was aiming. It is a very humble sport. You can't blame anything but yourself. And you just can't. And I had a really hard time accepting that, but it's the truth. And I started just appreciating it. It's a finite sport. I mean, 1 grain or 10 grains of a point can go from a 29 to a 30x, from a 28 to a 20. It is so it's the rocket science of archery, which I love. 50 meters more is Jacob's thing. I don't love it. I've
Oh,
went
come on now.
Who
I've
really does? Who
I've
really does?
went yeah. I mean, I've went to a few. I appreciate the discipline of that. I don't plan on adventuring into that after college. But I would like to be good enough where if someone watches me shoot, they're like, oh, well, he at least knows what he's doing. So that's about as far as my outdoor target game goes. But honestly, my low light season, that's an easy one for me. 22, I went into K45. It was my first full year in it, and I was just consistent. Got fourth that year in London,
Mm.
and I had like $200 something to class out my freshman year in college. Did not class out because of the weather that year. My score got canceled in Metropolis, which made me miss the class out. Still should have classed out, so I guess that's my fault for not shooting that well. But I jumped back into it instead of jumping. I didn't want to jump up to K50 and get my teeth kicked in. Um, and at that point, I'm not going to disclose the bow that I was shooting. If you want to go on my Instagram, you'll find it. I picked up a bow at that time, and me and that bow did not get along at all. And tried to make that bow work all year, and got progressively worse as it went on. And I couldn't hit the broadside of the barn if I tried. There was just no confidence behind it. And then made an equipment change, went to PSE. I was shooting a 40-inch bow, which is too big for me. My draw length's 27.5 inches. But I shot that, went to a 38, got the limbs for it, and then leading into 24 is when I really just like picked up. After I swapped to that PSC, it just complemented me well. Had a good collegiate year that year, and then that's kind of where I kind of picked up the um, indoor game really well. So that was my low light year, was 2023. I can tell you that 100%. That was a rough year.
Yeah, I would say shooting collegiate with you. I would say like knowing you for what since 21
22,
probably.
yeah,
Yeah,
22,
I'd say
yeah.
seeing you go through that struggle is probably the lowest I've seen you for sure, and then the rocket after that. So do you think the bounce back was more so? Because obviously, like when we're shooting bad, like I've said on previous podcasts, like the last 3 years, I didn't make the cut at Lancaster 2 of the 3 years, and it's like mentally you don't want to be there anymore. You don't want to shoot. Um, so what made you wanting to go shoot still? And even though you were in that space, how did you try and like persevere and try and find like a good side to it, even though obviously you're saying it was definitely like the lowest point in your career?
That's so interesting because like at that time, uh, said bow I was shooting had two different cam options, so that should give a hint of what company that was at that time. Um, and it was a new
I wonder
cam.
what it is.
It was a new cam, and it was supposed to be really well. It did not work for me. I know some people shot it great, was not mine. Um, and I went back to a previous bow that I shot just to try to pick up anything. And at that point, I was just in a mental slump. I just did not feel like I could shoot good. I remember calling Dad after one ASA. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, I can't shoot. I was like, I took that bow to Lancaster that year, made the cut the first year in 2023, but it was like a 640 and got my teeth kicked in first match. I knew it was gonna be bad. Like, it just wasn't gonna go good. I just tried to change everything except the bow, trying to figure out if it was something I was doing, if it was
Mm.
an anchor thing, an unforgiving arrow, grip, angle, I mean, how I put my hand into the grip, vanes, helical. I was changing everything. But the way I just kept wanting to shoot required, though I'm required to shoot in college, so I kind of had to keep shooting. So I had to figure out some way to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Is archery's always been my escape from the world. Like I think we all have so many roles in life. Some listeners might be parents, some might be going to school. So like everybody's got so many roles in life. So for me, archery is the one time I can like take all my responsibilities and just like let them go. It's just
Yeah.
a kid that likes shooting a bow, and that's always been that way. I said I'd always put a bow down if I hate shooting it. I'd never shoot it again. It never gets that way for me. Like I've never hated picking a bow up. I might be frustrated, but it's my escape from the
Mhm.
stress of the world. So that's kind of how I kept through. It was just I love shooting a bow. It's fun to me. It's just how I am.
Mhm.
No, nice. And then I'll ask one more question, then Jake has a few questions for you. Because you and I both shot collegiate. I graduated, and you're in your last year. What would you say for people who are in their, say, sophomore to senior year in high school who are considering it? Because I would say I did 1 year in college. I was a track athlete, and I transferred out because of the COVID virus. Uh, and then I ended up going to a school that had an archery program, and getting to shoot a lot more. Obviously, is extremely beneficial. But you get to meet more people doing it as well. Like we would never have met if I didn't do collegiate or if you didn't. So, what would and you also get exposed to the next generation of shooters as well. So you really are competing with the people that you're going to face 20 plus years down the line if you really stick it out. So, what would you say for people looking at, oh, maybe I'll do it, and then if you want to give any experiences that you've had, because I know you've been to two different colleges now. I think
Yeah,
it's Union and Cumberland's.
yeah. I transferred out my freshman year. I went from Union to Cumberland's, really due to academics. My career changed of what I wanted to do. But college archery to me, you everyone is their local legend. Like everybody's like their local legend growing up. You find your little like local league, and you kind of can like be like the big fish in a small pond. But college archery really opens the door to the fact of everyone's that, and when you get there, everybody's their best home shop shooter. And I learned. I will always say college archery made me the shooter I am, 100%. I got to shoot against phenomenal shooters, and got my teeth kicked in repetitively, but it taught like I learned so much. Like now I can build a bow from take my bow down to like bear riser and slap it together. Like I learned so much about fine tuning what a good arrow count looks like, how to find that, what your arrow count looks like for other people. Kind of having people just like tell you like keep you on your toes. I will say if if you're not fully committed to archery, and this might be not what everybody wants to hear. College archery might not be for you. It does become a job. It becomes a job for 5 years. So you better really like it because there's no break. From August to May, you shoot.
Yeah.
So you need to like it. There's days that, the coach says you shoot 66 arrows and you don't want to shoot four.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find enjoyment in not wanting to shoot. So it has benefits and negatives to it. If you're not fully committed, to me, I loved it because I got to shoot every day. But some people, that is not the way they like to practice. And I saw a lot of people quit college archery because it does become a daily task. So I love it. It's turned me into who I am, and I'm always forever grateful for the people I met. But it is a strenuous task for 5 years to shoot and to balance schoolwork. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know I talked to Jake about this on, I think it was probably the first podcast. Um, I am shooting, I shoot my best like 2, 3, maybe 4 days a week. So when I went to college, it was every single day plus weekend tournaments if I could find them. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't say it sucked, but it was like, I'm just drained. And for the school I went to, we didn't do, because you guys down south would have the ASA collegiates and all that. We didn't have that in Northeast. So for us, it would be, we would start off 50 meter and then indoors and like September, and it's like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
exhausted already. I
Oh
was like, I
yeah,
don't want to look
100%.
in Vegas fun anymore. I'm good. I would agree. If you're not like, if you're more like me, it may not be the best, but also you can also talk to your coach about that and see if you can work something out as well. But certain programs have different standards, so if they want you there, they have to treat you the same as everyone else. And there's different reasons for that. But that was a good insight, and I appreciate that, and especially for younger audience members if they're watching, because I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're in the S3DA or if you're in the NAS programs. It could definitely be a really good opportunity for them as well. But Jacob, if you want to get into the next couple topics.
Yeah. Even like I'm just gonna caveat off that too is like even if you're a younger archer aspiring to possibly go pro, in that aspect as well, like maybe you don't have the ability to do collegiate archery or you just want to focus on your academics and that type of stuff, but you still want to shoot and you still want to become a pro on the pro circuit. It's like you have to have that commitment, just like what Landon said. Like it doesn't become like if you're doing it on your own, it doesn't become a job. But if you want to excel at your profession, and become that pro or that top collegiate archer, yes, I have to. I'm in 100% agreement. You have to commit to it. There's days you don't want to go to the range. There's days you just like you're you're done. I'm sure Matt, you know this. Landon, I know you know this. Is you don't want to set foot on that line. There's that one day or 2 days a week that you're just like, I'm drained. I don't want to, but having the discipline to sit there and say, no, I'm gonna, you know, and we talked about this on the other podcast, is when you go to practice, you don't have to score that.
Mm-hmm.
So another tidbit of information is like if you have that one day you're just like, man, I'm just going through the motions, just go and just shoot your bow. Like keep track of how many arrows you shoot, but like you don't score it, you know. Um and that's what got me through a lot of the times where I just had a bad day at work, or you're just like, man, I'm drained today, I'm tired, but I still have to shoot. You just go and you just go through the motions. You go through your steps. You don't focus on score or nothing like that. But yes, Landon, that was amazingly put on. You have to have that commitment in there, 100%. Because if you don't have that commitment, we all know, like you falter, and that one little falter can set you back miles. Um, so yeah, Landon, tell me a little bit about your most recent indoor season. I know you had a pretty good showing at Lancaster, but I did see you at a few of the smaller events. I think you went to the Hoosier. I saw you at Midwest. I got to talk to you at the Midwest. You had a pretty good showing there as well. And I didn't see you at Iowa. I don't think you were at Iowa, but yeah, give me a rundown of kind of like what how you did on those tournaments and stuff. Give that kind of side of indoor season a little love.
Um, I mean, Jacob, you know this as much as I do. Hoosier is a scramble to get ready. I don't think anyone goes to Hoosier and you like are dialed in. So like Hoosiers, I love Hoosier. If anyone is listening to this, I highly recommend go to that tournament every
I'm
year.
I'm
It's the
100% with you.
it's
Please
the
go to the Hoosier. It's so much
it's the
fun.
biggest shoot. It's the biggest shoot that's growing right now. It's a huge shoot. It's the first time you get tournament nerves, so you can see what your bow's doing, what it's not going to do. It is a fantastic shoot. You get to watch everyone else struggle. Like no one's shooting a
Me.
690. Like everyone like is figuring out their stuff, which I love that tournament.
Yep.
Every year I go, I've been 4 or 5 years now, and I love every time going. It's my favorite shoot of the year. It really is. You get to see your friends, like everybody's just cutting up. It's just a good tournament. But
Hmm.
Hoosier did not go good for me. That was the worst I've shot at Hoosier in a very long time.
Same, buddy.
Um, it was terrible. I tried something since probably August. I'll everyone shoots the SE cams on PSEs. Everybody does. Um, and Matt does. I know Jacob, when you played with one like at your own
Yep.
time, you shot SEs.
I
Everybody's
love
like,
the
man,
SC2 cam.
yeah.
Like
Everybody does.
obviously you see my shirt and everything. I'm shooting for Prime now, and I love the new Divide 37. But if I had a PSE in my hand,
Oh,
yes,
that was
I
a
would be.
PSE jersey.
I I'd be shooting that SE2 cam. I did try the M2 cam, but I do like how the
Oh, I
SE2
know.
cam felt.
The
But
M2 cam is a very good cam if you can really set the bow up right for it and for your shot. If you don't have the right shot process for it, you can't shoot the cam.
I know
No,
a guy that shoots the M2 cam, and he shoots it pretty well.
He shoots it
uh,
the only
but
issue is he sets his bow up lefty, which is the
I
wrong way.
do. I do
Oh
shoot a lefty,
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately. But I would say I went and shot SEs at that tournament, and maybe it was an arrow combo thing. Maybe I don't know. I couldn't get my aluminums to shoot good out of it, and I was kind of scrambling, so I just picked up some gold tips that I had that I knew shot good, and I was like, well, I can't blame the arrows if I shoot these, and that was like the one thing I wanted to eliminate going there. Went there and shot terrible. My 5 spot game was a guessing game of where it hit. I went to Vegas, the Vegas day, and just changed everything to make it at least feel unfamiliar.
Bearable.
Yeah, to just make it feel so unfamiliar you might shoot good. I shot better, but it wasn't good. Got in my car and left as quick as it got done. Um, and I had Midwest that next week, and I was like, oh God. So I like dug my blue bow out of the closet that had M2 cams on it, and I was like, I'm just gonna make this work. Set it back up, um, put my aluminums back through it, and started shooting the aluminums good. Um, and I just went to Midwest, shot a 59X day one, and was dying shooting those M2 cams after not shooting them for a year. That because they are extremely aggressive.
Hmm.
Um, and I shot a okay. I think I shot a 320x on Vegas, so it was a very loose game, but it hung. It wasn't good, but it was a 300. Um, and I went to a shoot off with a guy that shoots college archery. His name's Easton. He beat me. But kudos to him. I just did not shoot well in that shoot off. And then transferred over to getting ready for Lancaster. But I had some college tournaments in between that, which is a big point of my indoor season was collegiate indoors, which is funny to me. But that was kind of my precursor to January.
A
Nice.
quick question. I have a quick question for you, real quick, because you said that you went from the SE2s to the M2s. You don't have to get too in depth, but I know like I've shot both in the past. The SE2 is a very rounded cam, very relaxed, smooth cam, and the M2 is more of a spiral esque type cam. Um, how did you have your M2 typically set up, and how were you able to replicate the SE2 as close to how your M2 is set up, or you're really not able to get that close?
You're never getting an M2 to feel like a SE2 or
Yeah,
the
I
other way
know.
around. They're so different. Like, for some reason, SEs read low on holding weight. They don't read
Very, very.
mathematically what they should. Like a 65% SE2 is like 18, 19 pounds. Mathematically, it should be like 22, 23 pounds at 60 pounds. An M2 at 70 is already 18. And then you go to 65, you'd be pulling like 23, 24 pounds of holding weight, which is way too much for me. I can't shoot that much. But I had my SEs at 65. Um, they were aggressive. They felt aggressive just because there was no valley. It just rolled and stopped. There was no like dip. It just went and just stopped at your draw length. But I went back and just picked my M2s back up, slapped them at 70%, 18 pounds, 18 and a half pounds holding weight, which is where my sweet spot is, 17 to 18, and just made it work. It wasn't really the holding weight that bothered me. It was just how demanding those cams are to shoot. They're not a like just a drawback, just super smooth shoot and just enjoy it. It is a aggressive cam, so you
Yeah,
have to get back used to that.
yeah, yeah. No, I'd agree. I have shot the spiral before on the Hoyt, and I still think the M2 is probably a bit more aggressive than
It
those
can
spiral.
be, yeah, it can
Yeah.
be.
So
Yeah,
I was just curious because I know I've shot both. I didn't know I was never able to get them anywhere near. And if anyone is out there that was able to, I would love to know how you do that. Uh, probably a lot of prayers and everything, and
Probably a
Just
lot of twisting and untwisting.
yeah, yeah. And I'd love to know how they did that. But yeah. So anyway, if you want to continue on with your indoor season,
Yeah. Went into 2026 and I went to Rushmore. Shot okay. Shot at 898. Um, dropped a 9, my first in for score. So I knew the weekend was over. Just how it is, even in amateur, you drop 1 9, it's over. So then I had to really mentally like focus to not blow a lot because I blew at the first end, and I shot a 599 52x, which the X count's really good, but it's just the 9 just kills it. Went to Vegas Day, shot another 299, just subpar shooting on that whole weekend. Had a high miss that I could not get out, and it would like break topside X, blow a high 9, and went back to college. College tournament was the next weekend after that, and I had to shoot 23s for college. So if anyone is planning on shooting college, you have to shoot 23s for indoors. Just kudos to that. But yeah, a lot of
27's
people.
all the way and
Uh,
27's all the way. Okay.
but I went to that
Uh,
tournament and kind of just slapped arrows in. I had a good build for them. I knew what shot good because I shot them at the latter half of last year at one tournament, and they shot great. So I just stuck with them as a 23-18 cut at 28 inches, 200 in the tip, which 23-18 is not common for people that know Easton arrows. Everybody shoots the 15s. I like
Yep.
the 18s. I love the
15s or
18s.
14s
Yeah,
are like that's what I have is the 14s, and those are the most popular I've found.
yeah.
It's like so
I mean, it's 18s are not popular. I will be the first to
no,
say that. They're
no,
very
they're not.
they're very heavy. They're 13.7 grains an inch. I mean, they're super heavy.
Who
So my arrow build was like 660 grains after everything was set and totaled.
Did you
at least
Um,
try?
that M2 cam is pushing
can
that
handle
arrow
it.
out there, so
It can
it can
handle it.
handle it. Yep.
Did
Yeah.
you try the others at all, or just go right to those?
I went straight to the 18s because
Gotcha.
my builds for bows like a stiff arrow, just they do, and I didn't even try to go to a weaker arrow. Every time I go weaker, they tend to shoot worse. I'm gonna experiment more with that this year, but usually
Especially
I
when
don't.
you shoot a sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Especially when you're shooting like an aggressive shot process like you're shooting. You're shooting that higher holding weight, you're shooting that aggressive cam and everything like that. And yep. And for anybody that's listening, when you are shooting like that aggressive shot process, kind of like what Landon's shooting, is typically now archery doesn't always play by the rules, as people have found out, but typically about 90% of the time, a aggressive shot process, aggressive cam likes that stiffer arrow because of all that um,
Pressure, really.
pressure,
Yeah.
poundage, holding weight, everything going into basically transitioning from the cams to that arrow. So that arrow needs to kind of be able to handle
Hold it.
that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Went to collegiate indoor regionals. Uh, wasn't really nervous. My nerves have already kind of calmed down at that point in the indoor season.
Man, I'm really thirsty right now. Sorry.
You're good. Um, and I shot a 28x front game,
There you go.
um, and felt like a normal 28. Like it wasn't a nervous 28. Like it just felt
Hmm.
good shooting it. Might have been 27. Either way, 27, 28. And then I went to the back half, got complacent, shot a 24. It's just being complacent with where I was at. But I went through head to heads the next day, won that tournament with I think it was a 149, 147, 149, 147 match score. So
Ooh,
just
there
consistent,
we go.
good shooting, and especially like when you're nervous, like the pin was just bouncing everywhere,
Hmm.
and they were still hitting. And my
Isn't that the
buddy,
best feeling in the world?
best feeling in the world, best feeling in the world, best feeling in the world. And I went, and the next weekend was Lancaster. I had 4 weekends back to back of shooting,
Ow.
and yeah, it was bad. That was rough. And then I got on the, I was like, all right, 27, let's slap them back in the bow, and I shot and had the same high miss. Break high side X, 910 liner high. Break right top side X, 9 high. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is just, I don't know why this is doing this. And my buddy Daniel Carlton, which Jacob, you might know him. Matt, you probably do too from the college
Name
world.
name name sounds familiar. I can't say
Yeah.
that I've actually
He,
met him, but I
He
might have.
switched. He switched to lefty too.
not, yeah, well, that's not for the different reasons. Different reasons. Um, but Daniel called me and goes, if you're not shooting your 23s at Lancaster, you're an idiot. And I was like, he's like, you know they win, so why would you not shoot those arrows? And I was like, I know, but I was like, but 27s. I was like, everybody shoots 27s at Lancaster. Like, you can't go to Lancaster and shoot 23s. And he was like, so you're thinking about how far out you can hit and still clip it. He's like, how about you shoot the arrows that hit the middle and you ain't got to worry about hitting them. And
Right.
he's like, and if you miss it, you're gonna miss it with the 27 too. So he's like, why shoot them? I was like, all right. I was like, so I went back, shot a 28x game with him, first game back in the range. And I was like, okay, I just need to take these to the tournament. I was like, if I can just get in the car with smaller arrows, I know I will shoot better. I was like, I just have to commit to getting 23s in the car and knowing I've got a smaller arrow than everybody else. Um, Went to Lancaster, practice went good, everything was kind of flowing. Went to quals, shot a pair of 27Xs clean, so 654 qual, and it's just like there again a comfortable qual. Like it was never nervous. Like I shot a 27, I was like that's where I should be. Like it wasn't a oh my god I'm doing something that should not be. Like it was a comfortable qual. Seated second, and the only person that beat me was Drew Hortman, which is a very well established shooter. Shot a Vegas 900, has done a lot in archery. Went to head to heads and shot a 130, 129, 129 to make the stage for that. And then made the stage, and that's kind of where my highlight of the year was definitely that.
Oh yeah.
So that was my big point, and then went to indoor nationals the next weekend. So for USA.
I'd have to say is like tell us a little bit about being up on those lights, because underneath those lights on that final stage, because I am the only one that's in this podcast right now that has not been on those lights. I've been underneath the Vegas lights, but I have not been underneath the Lancaster lights. These two gentlemen were fortunate enough this past Lancaster to both make the final stage, which is amazing to have both of them in this podcast. But and we heard from Matt of kind of like his rundown of how his kind of finals match kind of went, kind of how he felt on there. But let's get your take, Landon. What was kind of going through your mind? You know, they hype you up when you're coming out, which your intro video was freaking amazing. And just when you stepped up on the stage, like what were you feeling? The first arrow, you know, kind of once you started getting rolling um, into the shoot, and kind of what was going through your head trying to get through the motions up there.
Yeah. Um, I kind of like kept shooting a lot at practice, like in the practice bails. Like every match when someone go up, I just keep slinging arrows down range. I just wanted to keep shooting. And I remember my buddy that was in my box, just because he was the only person there that like knew my shot process enough to have him behind me. And he was like, I can tell you're getting nervous because my misses started getting like a little bigger. He's like, you need to calm down. So I was like trying to like get myself calmed down, and I was like, I'm just gonna shoot 312s before we go out and then go. Hit all three. I was like, that's as good as it's gonna get.
Yep.
Was listening. They had like the TV in the back where you could like watch matches,
Mhm.
and the guy that ended up winning, Marco Morello. If y'all do not know, he is a professional Italian archer that won that. He third place at
Mhm.
Swiss Open. Very established shooter. Came in fourth seed, and I was kind of listening to the match scores, and I'm like, this could go really good for me. And then he whacks a 131 out first game. I was like, okay, well, here's the game. I was like, this is where it's really gonna start. Like I knew, like if you win Lancaster, it's not gonna be from a faulty score. It's just not. Um, and I kind of like looked at my buddy. I said, "Oh, well, shoot off started." I was like, "You can tell now." I was like, "He's here, and he's gonna push the standard up to where you're gonna have to come out and throttle." And they get you set up, and you're right before you walk out. In my opinion, maybe it's different for other people. It's made the stage. My whole life was like flashing through my head. Every time I didn't make the stage, every time I almost made the stage, like everything you wish for as a kid kind of is like running through your head. Um, you walk out and you kind of get like I bumped Marco over and I went first. I wanted to go first. That's just a me thing. I don't like hearing what they shoot and I have to match it. I'd prefer to like set it and then them shoot. Um, and everybody was telling me that's made the stage previously. They're like, "Good luck. You're not gonna be able to hold it in the red." And I was like, "Oh, great. I'm gonna come out here and it's gonna be blue to blue." And I like got anchored. They started the buzzer and I drew back and I'm like, "Oh my God, like here it goes. Like this is gonna be it for me. Like I'm not gonna be able to hold on the broadside of the barn." Well, I hit a 11 first arrow and it was 9 to 9. That's about where mine was bouncing, 9 to 9 on the first one, and hit it. And then by the end of the first end, I kind of got down to loose 10 bouncing. But Matt, you'll be able to explain. You'll be able to know what this is when I tell someone like this, and you probably have for your Vegas 900. There's so much going on. Like it's like 1,000 things are going on around you at once. It's literally like someone just clicks a button on your shoulder and says shoot, and it just your body just does what it's gonna
Mm.
do. Like I maybe the more you're in it, the more times you make the stage, maybe it calms down. But for me, it was like someone just clicked a button. They're like, shoot your bow, and it just like my body just did everything for me. Like there was no like, okay, well let's go here, let's hook, let's draw back. Like there was no thinking. There was none. But now Matt, I know this happened to you because you told me one thing before you went on the stage. I can't stall because if I stall, I'm gonna make bad shots. And you're like all weekend, I focused on not stalling, and I looked, and the first arrow for stage, Matt draws back, hits anchor, sits there for 10 seconds, and then fires. And I went, uh-oh. I was like, that is not good. I was like, oh no.
That
But
wasn't the worst one. That one was fine.
no,
My
no,
first
but
one was
there was
great.
some
That
bad
third
ones.
one was terrible.
There were some bad ones. There were some bad ones. But you can't like say if you had a punching problem, if someone's listening to this, you had a punching problem, and you've been focusing unless you punch as a normal shot. I know some people do. I can't. Jacob does. I can't. Um, but if you're focusing on anything that whole weekend to not happen, it will come out on that stage. Any flaw, anything that can go wrong in your form will happen. It's just what it's going to be. So you really just have to trust what you're bringing on the stage. Um, I actually shot really well on the stage. I'm happy with how I shot. I shot a 129 match score, which isn't bad. It's just he shot better.
Yeah.
It would have been a 129 if I wouldn't have shot for a 12. I dropped 2 arrows outside the X before the 12. So, I mean, I blew a 9 high in my third end, and I was leading at that point, and he blew a 10, so we were tied going in the last end. I blew a high 10, he piped it, and then I had to shoot a 12 on the last arrow to hit it, for him to shoot an 11 to tie, but I missed the 12 by like
Mm.
a 16th of an inch probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, I shot well. It just wasn't good enough. It's just, I mean, that's just how it was.
and
But I'm
and that's
happy with it.
and that's the game sometimes. Like, um, it people that are new to archery listen to this podcast, or guys that are a seasoned archer. We play a game of millimeters. It is not like if you're on, you're on. If you're not, you're gonna be dancing around that, and you're gonna miss them by just a smidge. And you know, and a thing we say when we get beat is like he just shot better. He shot better. I was not at the top of my game, and I just got beat. And another thing we say is like, if I can't beat you at your best, then what am I doing? You know what I mean? So Well, good. That's awesome. What are your next indoor season events? Are you going to? I know you said you already competed in USA Indoor Nationals. You had a pretty good showing with that. I think the standings. I think you made a
I'll probably
uh,
be top 20 by
top
the end of it.
10 or top 15,
Yeah,
um, or something like that.
probably be 20th by the end of it. I mean,
Yeah,
realistically. But I
and
shot an 1180, which is sad. An 1180 gets you like
you
20th.
kicked my butt.
1180 just doesn't do it
Shot
anymore.
11's
Used to.
76 or 77. So
Buddy,
yeah,
my first
I was struggling.
day one, I wouldn't even came close. My day one was a 586, which was terrible. Shot
I
a
shot.
nine, shot a 91, 95, and then I was like, well, there goes my Lancaster shooting it. Left it at Pennsylvania, I guess. And and then I finally like just focused and on day two and shot a pair of 27s again, which got me to an 1180. But I mean, USA Archery is just that
Just
tournament is so hard. It's so hard.
yep.
It just is. I mean, 120 arrows and you can't falter. That's
No,
just hard.
you
Yeah.
can't. And the guys that can do it consistently, like Matthias Fullerton, you got Mikey Slosher, Jimmy Lutz, Kyle Douglas. Yes, Kyle.
I think it's yeah, 28 and 29.
Gaius Carter, Levi Reitzma. I just shot with him this weekend, and he
Shot insane.
pounded. He was pounding, and I can't iterate this enough. Is like he was inside
Yeah.
those small tens, and that's what you need on the USA game. And I just was. It was awesome to watch because he's a really good friend of mine, and being able to share the bail with him, I was just like, man, dude, I just love it. Like when, and I'm sure you both can agree with that, is like when you got one of your buddies and you're shooting with them, or even just a friend, and they're shooting so good. Like, yeah, you might be doing mediocre, but you're still doing all right. It's just awesome to watch. Like I'm
Good
sitting there
shooting.
going, oh no, I'm I just love watching good shooters. Like it's just amazing um to me and stuff like that. So cool. But yeah, I keep getting off topic, so I
You're
apologize.
good.
What's your next indoor season events? I know we got only two more, and we're pretty much getting an ASA. We're getting into your ASA setup here shortly. But yeah, are you gonna be hitting indoor nationals, NFA, and Vegas, or where are we gonna see you next for the indoor?
Yeah, he is.
I will actually not be. I'm probably gonna take a break on the indoor game for this season. I just with kind of finishing up my master's degree, I kind of just want to like knock that out. NFAA, it's a lot of money to go to an NFAA event. Um, and I'm not in the pro card division, so you don't get paid regardless if you win or not. So FYI, it's not a diss to NFAA. It's just you don't get paid
No,
in amateur. You just don't get
yeah,
paid.
it's just the realization of
Yeah,
the class.
like I won it in 2024 and
Here's your
didn't get
bowl.
it. Yeah, I wish. By the way, the best trophy in archery is the
Yeah.
bowl
Yes.
NFA. It's sick. I love my the bowl I won. It was much earned. That was a cool tournament for me. But I don't. I'll probably go back when if and when I feel comfortable enough to step on the line and shoot in the pro class. I'll shoot it. Um, Same way for Vegas. I won't shoot Vegas. Um, I know flights is a very popular class. You
Hmm.
can win a lot of money in flights. Don't get me
You
wrong.
can. Yes.
You can win a crap load of money in flights. Where I'm at, Vegas is very expensive, very expensive.
Yep.
And I I personally have kind of told myself when I feel like I can make the 900 stage, I'll go. And that's
Gotcha.
kind of been my commitment. The next time I go to Vegas, is it's going to be swinging with everybody. It's not going to
Yeah.
be. My opinion, I don't want to shoot flights. Like if I go and I'm blowing, God knows how much money. Um, I wanna swing for the fences. Like I don't
It's a
want.
couple grand. It
Yeah,
just for the viewers to know,
yeah,
it's a good chunk of a few grand to go to Vegas, even if
and
you're shooting in amateur.
amateur.
Yeah.
100%. And that's
Yep.
not your $8, your $12 coffees. I mean, it's expensive.
Don't remind me.
So
Don't
like,
remind me of the $12 black coffee, man.
I mean, that's what it is. So like, I'm just not gonna go until I feel
Yeah.
comfortable enough to step on the line in the championship class and compete at a high level. Do I
Yeah.
think I'm almost there? Yes. I think I'm almost there, that I think I could almost hang. Like, I think I could shoot.
I would say you're almost there too. Like with your Lancaster showing and everything, you're on the
Cusp.
cusp, the fence. Like you're
Yeah.
literally about ready to teeter over. You're
Yeah.
just waiting for that one more little bit.
Like, I'm shooting, like, I shot a pair of 27s in 2 competitions this year. I need them to be about 28s. Realistically, they need to be 28s. 28s, 29s. I've never shot a 30x in comp. I would love to do that. Um,
Neither have
I, I would like to.
I.
I would like to. That's a big thing for me. I want to shoot one in comp.
Oh,
Um,
I would love to. That would be amazing.
it'd be crazy. But like, I want to go and feel like I can make it, because realistically, 654 at Lancaster. You know where that got me in pro? 32nd. I mean, you win your first match and then you're against Mikey. So until you can like until you can like feel confident enough to like, cuz it's not our best days. My
Mm.
best day, Jacob's best day, Matt's best day, we're probably all tit for tat. We can, I mean, I can
Yep.
shoot a 30x on my best day. Jacob can shoot a 30x on his best day. Matt can shoot a 30x on his best day. It's not the best days that win you archery. It's when you are shooting bad, can you still shoot a 28? Is a 28 bad? And I'm not there. I'm not at a point where if I go up against Mikey and I'm not feeling perfect, I can still swing. Like, I would have to be on it, and I don't want to go to a tournament and be like, well, I've got to be on it to make it. I should be
Yeah.
like, I just need to make it. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm really close. I just don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the
Understandable.
questions I got asked, like right after Lancaster. It was like, "Oh, you made the stage. Like, how do you feel?" I was like, "Well, I didn't really perform well on the stage, but I was like, in every single one of my elimination matches, I went 129. I was like, you're a first round knockout essentially in pro. I was like, my first step to wanting to shoot pro is you kind of need to clean a Lancaster round, especially if you shoot pro, you kind of need to go to Vegas. You kind of need to go to internationals because that's where you get all the money. And if you want to do that, you need to clean it. So first step is cleaning qualifying. After that is you need to shoot consistently 132s, 131s, the lowest of 130. And if you can't do that, you really shouldn't be there, honestly, because then you're just giving money away at that point.
Like,
Yeah.
I think the year in 2024 when I won NFA, I this was like my gut punch to indoors that year. I won NFA afterwards, so it was like my redemption for that. I shot a 651 qual, got like fifth, and then went to head to heads and went 131, 131. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm throttling. And like everybody I shot against was like, well, good luck on the stage. Like, you're doing what you need to do. Dropped a 128 and lost by 1 point to make the stage that year.
I remember that year, yeah.
Yeah, that sucked. That was terrible. Um, that hurt because that day I had it, and I was the one that caused that to lose. That one hurt. So I mean, I've made the cut 4 years in a row, but I did like first round knockout, 1 point away from the stage. Got my teeth kicked in the next year because I shot a 126 and thought I could win with a 126. You can't. Just telling you, you're not gonna win. And then this year, getting third. It's just indoor, such a funny game. It's just such a funny game.
One
It
arrow
just
can
is.
cost you, man. One arrow can cost you.
It does. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So
So I
I'll
feel
call it
that.
indoors.
Like, yeah, I feel that. So it it's hard, especially in like this podcast. Me and Matt created it, kind of to get to the nitty gritty of things, and in all reality, you're throwing a lot of money, and especially, Matt is now out of school. He's working full time. I work full time. You're in college. It's probably even harder for you. Yes, you have the collegiate side, but at the same point in time, it's still money out of your own pocket. And for people listening, it's hard. It's hard to sit there and say, I'm going to pay this much money to go and possibly win. So that's kind of what Landon's kind of getting at is like it's hard to um, bite that stone and just like let it just ride. So um, kind of with that is you want to be confident in your shot, you want to be confident in your ability, and you want to be able to make that stage so you can potentially win or win your money back. And if you're not into that, that's kind of what Landon's getting at here is you, you're sacrificing a lot. And a lot of people sacrifice time with their family, loved ones. I know a lot of people, me, myself included, relationships with people, have had to be put on standby for archery. So there's a lot more that goes into it than, oh, well, I'm just going to go to a tournament and I'm going to see how it goes. So there's a lot of stress that goes into it. Yeah, we want to go for the experience and we want to actually get underneath the lights and we want to feel that pressure because how do you make your setup better? But at the same point in time, you're cutting your teeth trying to figure out like can I afford it to be able to go and do this job or this hobby, type thing. So kind of with Landon kind of talking about that, he's getting into that nitty gritty of like, am I really there yet? And having the self realization of I'm almost there. I'm going to go, but I'm just not there yet. And I'm going to work to get myself there. And then when I go, I'm going to win. So I love that mindset. That is like the best mindset to have. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so let's kind of get back into. We kind of covered the indoor season. Let's go to the ASA. We had Foley this past weekend, and kind of run into your. We're gonna run into your setup, and then we'll kind of talk about how the tournament went, and then we'll move on from there. So give us a quick rundown, like your poundage and holding weight, and kind of like how your setup is going. If you want to get into like building your sight tapes, kind of what you're sighting in for. If you're going for like a soft, certain yardage, or if you're trying to give yourself just a little bit, or are you, making sure that's right on and kind of transition into how your 3D season is going so far.
So 3D in college is just a really hard thing to navigate, and it's been that way for 5 years for me. In high school, I navigated it so much differently. Now, indoor nationals was first weekend of February for me, so I had a whopping 2 weeks to get a bow built and sighted in and good to go. I was playing with 65 pounds going into Foley, and it was about 20 pounds of holding weight. I don't know if it was the 65 pounds or the 20 pounds of holding weight. I'm going to guess the 20 pounds of holding weight. Um, it held awful, awful.
Ooh.
It felt like I was fighting my life to hold the bow back, which is just never good. I'm guessing it
Especially
was the
with
holding weight.
3D being at 50
Yeah,
yards and you're trying to hold on that one spot, the sun spot, the that one hole. So
yeah.
yeah,
So I just kind of like it was like the week before Foley on a Saturday. I went to the range and went to shoot, and I noticed a lapse in my form that was like compromising to make 65 pounds work. And I was like, and I was like leaning back. I'll tell people my biggest problem is leaning back. Like if because your body will naturally try to compensate with weight and it will lean back to hold it. Either that or you'll pop your elbow really high to try to hold the weight up. That's what the two things that you're gonna do. And I was leaning back very bad. So I was like, I'm gonna stand up straight and see. And oh my God, my pen was like bouncing everywhere on a Vegas target. And I was like, well, this is not gonna work. Got frustrated, drove home, picked up a 60-pound bow. That was another duo I had at the house. Drove back that night. I stripped the bow down at 8, slapped that bow together at 10 p.m. And that was Saturday night. That Monday, I made a sight tape, um, and then went to Foley with pretty much a brand new bow. I mean, with 4 days of prep, pretty much. Um, Shot okay, just not not where you need to be anymore.
Mm,
3D, Jacob's been shooting it long enough to know 3D used to be a game of how many can you hit. It is
hmm.
not that way anymore. It's a
No.
how many can you miss.
Yep.
And it's just where it is. It's just the actuality of what it is now.
Mm.
The
Um,
caliber of shooters now is just
it's
amazing.
changed. It's changed. It's nuts. Like I've seen it. I've shot ASAs for shoosh. My number is very low. Like I'm usually the lowest number in the group now. I'm 23 years old, but I'm one of the lower ASA numbers. I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years. So I mean, I've seen it just jump every year. Um, 26 up's just not going to cut it.
Hmm.
It's just not anymore.
Right.
10 up day one, 16 up day two. That's just not going to get it done.
Hmm.
I mean,
It's still
it,
it's still a good round. Like
it's good, but
let's not short it, but it's not enough.
it's not enough. It's I said it's you I shot even par pretty much like in a
Yeah.
round of golf. Like it's good, but you're not ever winning a tournament shooting
Yeah.
even par.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like I just knew that's not where it should be. Um, so I felt like for me, I like 18 pounds of holding weight. Like I've kind of like settled into that 17, 18 realm of holding weight, and I 3D is also a vision thing, and I'm starting to find that out. Like people can see rings at 50 yards, which blows me away because I can't. I just can't. I've never been able to. Can you see them, Jacob, at 50? I can't. Like I've played with everything. I
With
can't do it.
with a 6 power lens, and I've had my hearing is not the greatest, but I guess it transitions into my eyesight. With a 6 power lens, I can see that I can see the rings pretty good, unless you got that dark target down in the hole, and then you're like, I I know the reference point. I used to shoot lowers and nothing but lowers, and I would go off of the belly of the target, and especially the pigs, like the pigs, the Russian boar and the boar targets. You kind of have to go off that belly because that 12 sits so far back, and you're just like, okay, that reference point is right there. I need to aim here. Okay, cool. You throw your binoculars up. You were using like I'm using 12 by 50s.
I use 12 by 50s. Yeah.
Yep. And when you throw those binos up, you're just like, okay, yeah, I can see that. But the moment that you throw the binos down, you're going, where do I need to shoot? So so yeah, I can like on a deer. The deer is my favorite target because I don't care who you are. If it's at 50, you know exactly where you need to aim on that. I
100%.
would
100%.
I'd have to say that's my favorite target besides the lynx. The lynx is my other one because you can just see those rings. But yeah, with the 6 power, I can see the outline of the rings, um, depending upon how far it is. If it's max, I can see the 10 ring, and usually if I can see the 10 ring, I'm good to go for like the upper. I shoot uppers now when I do shoot ASA,
I shoot uppers.
um, because you just have so much more, and we can get into that after you kind of finish up with your setup and stuff. But there's a difference in going for just lowers and uppers.
100%.
There's
100%.
so many things, and we can talk about that here in a second. But yeah, I can see a little bit of the rings.
At 50. Yeah. Well, I cannot.
He could see him and he doesn't shoot it anymore, folks.
Um, I can't see them.
I'm not an ASI
Um,
guy anymore. I'm sorry.
it's so I've tried playing with it. My left eye's vision's getting a little worse, so that doesn't help. Um, it's just where it is. I've gotten to the point
Righty coming soon.
buddy,
Yeah.
I might be LASIK's coming soon. That's probably what it's going to be is LASIK surgery. But
Come on.
I mean, I shot okay. It's just a
Yeah,
vision thing. It's a vision thing.
gotcha.
But I will admit that right now my setup, one, I will only shoot a 40 millimeter scope for 3D. Will not shoot anything smaller than that. Will not. Maybe a 35. I would dip into a 35, but I'd never go under a 35 for me. I want as much detail around me as I can get because it's an information game. And a bigger scope, you get more light in. And somewhere like Coleman, you need as much light as you can get because Coleman's a very dark place to shoot.
You're
A
not wrong.
29 mil scope, you're going to struggle. Or London on the power lines, which unfortunately power lines do not exist anymore. But um, you couldn't see. So like I felt like for this weekend, my arrow setup was I needed to make a Vegas winning shot to hit it. And you cannot win a tournament having to break the arrow to send you into a 900 every arrow. You're not going to win. You're not. Um, and unless you're just on it that day, and that flow state, if you want to call it that, there's a level past flow state, but that's a whole another podcast.
That's like, yeah,
That's a whole other podcast. There's a level past
that
flow
is a
state, but
state.
that's
Oh
a
my gosh, I don't even know what to call
it's
that state of
euphoric.
mind. That is like
It's not
out of
euphoric.
body.
It's not euphoric
Yeah,
because it's very hard to stay into. But
yeah.
yeah, like
It's like
you
out of
really
body experience of just
100%,
like your body is
100%.
just in control and it's just going.
Yep,
Yeah, we'll
yep.
have to do that as another
That's that's a
podcast because
whole
that is
nother
like we
that's a
could
whole
go
nother
two
world.
hours talking
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Um, but I want to play with so much on my arrow setup.
Hmm.
I kind of took my spine. I've not been the biggest believer in spine. Um, I'm starting to believe it a little bit more. The more and more I play with stuff. I think for binning, I've already slung more tip weight in my current arrows, trying to get some forgiveness out of them. Um, I've got some other arrows coming to my house to play with, um, and I'm spining those out identical to my aluminums. So that's my like next theory is I'm going to try to spine them out to identically what my 2318 spine out to, and see if they shoot the same as a carbon and aluminum, but spined out the same. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. I don't know, but I want to play with that. That's where my brain kind of went to. Because like if I broke a half inch right, I missed it by 2 inches at 50. I
Ooh.
want to find an arrow. If I break a half inch, I hit a half inch. Or you break
Right.
right side, you're still gonna hit it. Not break right side. You're like, oh well, and it's that far out. Like you can't. It's very hard to shoot that
Mm.
with 3D, and you only got 20 arrows. Like each arrow matters so much more at an ASA. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in a fine tuning world right now, trying to figure out what's a forgiving 3D setup. And I think now I can really mess with that. Like I torque tune. Torque tuning's if anyone's listening to this, maybe they don't torque tune. I torque tune. Torque tune's a huge thing for me. That's
Torque tune.
changed the game for me on a building setup. Um, Torque tuning's so important. I don't bear shaft tune. I know a lot of 50-meter guys do, but I don't. Um, I don't bear shaft tune. I knock tune. I knock tune. I
Yes.
shoot all three vane orientations to see which one shoots a better bullet hole. Um, I do that. And I call it like miss tuning. I guess it's group tuning, but I do it like miss tuning. If you are only like if you miss, it's always right. I will bump my rest left. Like if I'm just barely missing right, I'll bump it left and get the right miss out. Um, but that's really all I do for tuning wise. But I just want to find an arrow that's forgiving enough to let all that other stuff help.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where
Where
I'm
where
at.
it kind of absorbs the human
Yeah,
factor of things,
yeah. I think
with
my
that.
arrow right now is just it's gonna shoot, and like right now it's just no matter like it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and it's just not forgiving yet for me.
Right.
Um, I'm gonna play with different brands, different spines, different. I'm just gonna keep playing till I figure something that works for me. Um, but that's where I'm at for 3D is figuring out how to not to get to the next level of shooting. Vision is just something. I mean, Brady Hempen won Louisiana. One of the, in my opinion, has got one of the most beautiful shots in archery. It's just the most fluid, just breaks clean every time. He can't see rings. So like I know it's possible. Like I know like you don't need to see rings to win.
Mm.
Like I know you don't. It helps. It helps, but you
It
don't
does.
need it. But I just want to have an arrow setup that helps me shoot at it helps show my best shooting because I think I shot better than what my score showed. Like I broke some good shots and it just wouldn't hit. So,
And some of those, some of those rounds are just those rounds.
oh
Like you'll
yeah.
shoot, like this weekend, my shots were going great with the USA Indoor Nationals, and some of the best feeling shots I've had in a very long time. Yep, exactly. They were just barely like, and me and Matt talked about this. He was checking in on me and kind of was like, how's it going? How's this going? And I'm like, dude, the shots feel amazing, but there was only like a handful. And when I say a handful, like maybe 5 or 6 shots that were my fault.
Yeah.
And uh, I and for people that don't know is when you don't want 5 or 6 shots that are your fault. You want like maybe 2, and then you get it down to 1, and then you get it to where like what Landon's saying is he wants to build that arrow setup that he even messes up on that 1, it still hits. He in the back of his head he still puts it back there and says, okay, that one was an iffy shot, but it still hit. And that's where I'm trying to figure out. But obviously, as you can see right there, 23s are still in the quiver. But going to indoor nationals, those will only come out for the shoot off if or when I do make it. Those are going to be my skinny arrows because I'm just not going
When you
to
make it, come on.
when I make it. But yeah, it's kind of hard to sit there and build a 23 setup and get that rocking and rolling for one weekend. Like I understand if people are going to like World Series events or I don't know if Kings of Archery events have a 23 diameter restriction. I
I
don't
don't
think they
know.
do. I think they're 27s.
Yeah.
So I can't even say that. So if you're going to like World Archery indoor series events, obviously you got to shoot 23s, but over here in the United States, you just got one tournament that requires 23s. So it's hard to like, for me at least, to pour all that time into an arrow build for just one weekend.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I have all these other tournaments that are shooting 27s. They only require 27s. Vegas, now that we're going to that new target, you're not switching arrows at all. You're like, I'm shooting 27s. That's the max diameter. I'm going to shoot it. So why wouldn't you pour your time into your 27s, type deal? But obviously, that's not the mindset that I should have had. I should have still put in the same amount of time. Is why I'm iterating that to the viewers is like, if you have a setup like what Landon's doing and he wants to fine tune that arrow to get it to feel exactly the way he wants it to, put the time in. Don't just sit there and say, oh, it's just one weekend. One weekend could be the difference on a lot of things. Don't make my mistake, but at the same point in time, I'll be throwing my 27s back. So I'm right there with you, Landon, is like trying to figure out that arrow setup. Tuning wise, pretty much you hit the nail right on the head. Is I think Matt agreed when you were saying we all, I think all of us here group tune. My theory on bear shaft tuning, I'm not shooting a bear shaft at a target, so why am I shooting it through paper? Why am I group tuning it? Why am I doing it? I know other people do. I know, top of the top pros, Paige Pierce, quite a few others. I just know Paige Pierce right off the top of my head because I see her videos on Instagram a lot on her tuning, which shout out to her. If you guys need some arrow building tips, look into her videos. Those are really good. But also is, your knock tuning. I never used to knock tune until this year. And I can tell you it's a night and day difference shooting that different variation through paper. Does it take a while? Yeah, you got a dozen arrows, but at the same point in time, what's one practice session that you're sitting at a piece of paper running every single arrow until you get that crisp bullet hole? and then you can step right over, sight in, and you're good to rock and roll. Increases your forgiveness, I want to say 10 to 20% with that. But also, shaft length, point weight, all that stuff goes into that. So cool. All right, we're going to transition over to Matt. He's going to kind of cover up the upcoming ASAs and kind of the future goals. And then we're going to wrap the podcast up with some viewer questions. And then we got some highlights that Landon is going to kind of throw out there for himself, what he's kind of got going on. And yeah. So Matt, take her away.
Let's see. So one question before we get over. So I'm assuming real quick, rest of the year, all the ASAs and then hunting season, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the only one I probably won't do is Louisiana. That's a haul for me, and it's like right before graduation. So that's probably the only one I won't hit, but I'll hit all the rest of the ASAs, yeah.
Okay. And then quick question before we get into the other question I'll have. So for me, I'm a really good field shooter, and I've always felt that if I have to shoot on a pro line, they got rid of amateur line, I could 100% compete with a lot of the pros on a field course. But indoors, obviously, I wouldn't be able to do the same way. For you, you were saying before you want to be able to get to the point for indoors to shoot pro where you can shoot 30x, 28, 29x consistently enough. For you, are you also waiting to see that jump in 3D? Because if you do that indoors, you'd have to do the same thing for 3D. So are you waiting for that as well? Or for you, is it primarily going to be for that indoor um, increase?
I don't know where 3D will take me. As a kid, I always said I wanted to shoot pro in 3D.
Mm.
Um, if it happens, great. I also archery is fun for me. It's a hobby. Like I love shooting my bow. Like it's a sport, and I take it very competitively. And I would like to say I shoot at a high level, and I enjoy doing it. But it'll never be a job for me. Like I never want it to be a job for me. Like I I I would like to dip my toe into indoors because I do think I'm almost there, where I really do think I could like swing with some people. Um, 3D, I don't really know. I would like to maybe one day, um, but as we've kind of talked on this podcast, and Jacob kind of nailed it perfectly, money's outrageous for archery.
Yeah.
It just is,
Yeah.
and I'll be the first person to say that. I did the math. Say season just entry fees in pro is $2,300 with your pro
Yeah.
card. That's a lot of money. Um, and I shoot semi-pro right now, and it's 720. That's a big difference.
Mm.
That's a big difference from 720 to 2,300.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, and Jacob knows the price of championship at Vegas and Lancaster. They're outrageous.
Mm.
Archery is a very
Hashtag
expensive
why I
sport.
don't shoot ASA anymore, because that
It's
entry fee is kind of steep for pro class.
it's outrageous. Honestly, one of the cheaper entry fees for pro class is USATs because there's not a pro class; it's just age class. It's one of the cheaper ones. It is. I mean, it's one of the cheaper ones. Um, it just is. I would like to. I've said there's a few shoots I want to hit before I'm 30. I don't know why I've always said 30. It's just kind of like a point, so I know I want to either hit like Swiss Open or Kings
Oh yeah.
or something over states one time.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be the year I'll do that and Vegas, and I'll just like dump in Lancaster. None of those require pro cards. You just go.
Mm-hmm.
So there's gonna be one year I'm just gonna sling it in and
Mm.
just throw myself in the water and see where I land. But I want to be at that level where if I know I'm not gonna hit my head diving in. Like I at least know I'm gonna at least gonna go into the water.
It's at least 8 foot deep, you know.
Yeah, like I at least know like when I dive, my head's not gonna like leave a crater in the ground.
Yeah.
3D, I love 3D. It's where my home is. That's the nicest people, in my opinion. The nicest people in archery will always be ASA shooters. One of the nicest people, uh, and I would like to make it one day. Uh, but if I don't, that's okay too.
Mm,
I want to enjoy shooting my bow. If that's in K50, whatever it may be. I never want it to be like, oh great, I've got to blow $300 and dread every second of it. I don't ever want to get to that point.
yeah. Okay. So kind of to wrap up, so if you want to do one quick future goal, I feel like we kind of already discussed a little bit of that,
Yeah.
and then we can do viewer questions.
Future goal would just I want to make an impact on archery in some way. I think that's what we're supposed to do. And there's so many kids that shoot now, and like archery can't be what it is without the next generation of shooters. It just can't. Unfortunately, Matt, we are not young enough to say we are the next generation. We're just not anymore. I'm 23, and Matt, you're 25.
Don't mind me.
Um,
Don't.
uh,
don't even. Oh my God.
so
Get
like,
old, dude.
but it's just
How?
that's we're not the next
Yeah.
generation. We're who it is currently. So I want to make an impact on the next generation of shooters and get it to keep growing. I think that's what archery is about. I never want to see an ASA die. I want to see it go to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. I mean, that's where I want it to always be. So that would always be like a lifelong goal, is to just keep spreading archery to other people.
Good.
Mhm.
All right, now some viewer questions. So, I guess you had one from your buddy Tyler. Um, ND Buckle teammate this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
That's a
right.
good one. Oh gosh, that's such a hard question because so he's talking about I went to a shoot in Bismarck, North Dakota. If anybody ever is near that area listening to this, they have a indoor 3D tournament up
Mm,
there, and I went and shot that with my buddy, and won the buckle for the team shoot. They do a handicap system, so amateurs get 9, highest amateurs get 9, pros get 10. It's supposed to shoot with it's like a 15 handicap in total. So like Jacob would be a 10, and then you would find someone like a 5 handicap, and you would shoot a team round together. For me and you would be like 9s, the highest amateurs, and then you'd find a 6, and you would shoot. Won it last year, really cool. Won like $300 too, so that made the trip even better. Um, I don't know, it just depends. I like shooting with different people, so whoever comes up to me will be my
yeah.
buckle partner.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Got two more. I'm probably just gonna do top three because
Yeah, you're good.
short. This one was from this one. I think it was Colin Spencer. How do you set up your indoor bow so that it works best for you? And then I
Ooh,
have another question that kind of goes along with it, so I'll just do that as well right now.
yeah,
Do you adjust your holding weight or your, I wouldn't really say shot, but do you adjust your holding weight or anything on your bow for different formats? So ASA to indoors to USAT, etc.
that's
So I guess
interesting.
they both kind of go together. So
For me, indoor, I start uh, torque tune, find an arrow that shoots a bullet hole for me. I'm a big bullet hole guy. I know some people aren't. I am. I want to start with a bullet hole. Usually, my first thing I like messing with is getting my misses smaller. That's my first goal, and that's usually with an arrow. Like the bow's going to be what the bow's going to be. You can mess with torque tuning, holding weight, but an the arrow's the one thing once it leaves the bow we can't control. Like you need to find that's the for like a second you don't have any impact of what that arrow is going to do, so you need to find the most forgiving arrow. For me, that's the main thing I focus on in the entirety of indoor season, is what arrow makes the misses smaller, what makes the me misses smaller, because the Vegas swing shot's going to hit the middle, but it's what your like 90 percenters, how to make the 90 percenters hit. And that's kind of what you were talking
mm,
about earlier, Jacob, was how to get the 90 percenters to hit.
Yep.
That's where my focal point goes into. Holding weight, I don't like to touch holding weight because holding weight can play with so much.
yeah,
Sight picture, what you're used to. Um, Sometimes I like to go a little bit less for 50 meter when I play with it. Sometimes if the wind's just whipping, I might like a little less holding weight because I can just kind of like sit on it and wait for the wind to get back and then break. Um, but I don't really like messing with holding weight. But everybody's different. Jacob, I'm curious. Everybody on this, what is y'all's holding weight? What do you like your holding weight to be? I'm curious because everybody's different.
Well,
Jake. Go first.
I'd have to say is I don't know what
You
my
don't
bowling weight
know.
is.
Oh yeah, we talked about it before.
Yeah, we do. Oh, we covered this in a previous podcast, but I'll reiterate it in here. Is I used to be a 17 to 22 pounds guy. When I shot my Hoyt Invicta, that was like with the SVX cams, I had that thing almost to 20 pounds. And then I would, my 3D setup would be at 70, and that would be like 22 pounds. Um, I loved that bow, still love that bow to this day. I really think that was one of the best bows Hoyt made. Um, no, I'm not talking crap on any other bow company, especially the shirt I'm wearing. It's just there's that one bow that everybody shot in their career that just went with them. I also had the Altus. A lot of people crapped on that bow, but I freaking love that thing. Um, but back then, I was big on the holding weight and trying to figure it out. And then when I switched over to Matthews, I didn't really mess with the holding weight because those mods were percentage specific. Like you couldn't really mess with it. So I kind of got out of the fact of trying to achieve a certain holding weight, but I believe it was still, I ran the 70 Vs, so I was still in the 17 to 19
Ish. Yeah.
ish, I would have to say. And then when I switched, actually, I switched over to, because I noticed that with my shoulders, my back issues and everything from my military service was kind of showing up, and it was to the point where I was not being able to hold it and keep honest, and I was faltering, and I couldn't shoot an aggressive cam anymore, unless it was lower weight, which obviously with when you start taking the limb bolts out and you kind of shorten the bow up a little bit, you can kind of let that holding weight kind of deviate versus just changing out the mods. So I went to 75 percenters, which dropped that drastically to about like maybe a 12 to a
13.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a lot better. Plus, then I switched my shooting style at Vegas to command. I actually started punching, for lack of terms, for Vegas, and ended up shooting my very first 300. Second year at Vegas, punching, and I shot 326. So I was like, okay, this works. But I noticed that myself, I can't have all that holding weight shooting command style shooting like that.
No. No.
So I want to say I'm right at the 10 to 12 holding weight mark, with the Divide 37.7 inch brace height from Prime. And it just fits amazing for my shot process. So I'd have to say I'm 10 to 12. And that just fits me. And a lot of people, they mess with that. And I'm just going to throw it out there is don't be afraid to go below 15 pounds. Don't be afraid, because that might give you that edge you need to set in and relax into your shot and then build that pressure. But if you're that type of person like Landon, for example, he likes to pull that back, and hold it. Like he wants it to automatically, boom, there it is. If you're that style of shooter, run that high holding weight. But if you're struggling and something's just not right, don't be afraid to um, go down. Kind of like what Landon talked about this whole podcast is he's testing things out. He made this Lancaster stage. He was at the Midwest. He was, on the podium at the Midwest. He was like he's doing all these things, but he's still messing with stuff, looking for that better feel, that better shot process, that better performance out of his equipment. So don't be afraid to test that. But yeah,
100%.
I back off the rabbit trail coming back. I'm about the 10 to 12. What about you, Matt?
I probably tried it all. I shot an old TRX 40 at 80%. I ran probably like 12 and a half pounds on that.
That's my
My
guy.
only issue with going lower is I tend to have to run, with how my shot is, I have to run a lot of weight on my bars to get it to hold right. So I don't really like that feel. One of my best X count finishes at NFA Indoor Nationals was a few years ago. I shot a Super RTX with an EM cam with the 65% mod on. So I was holding, and that cam is stout. So I was holding like 25 pounds of holding weight. And that was
Yeah.
miserable. I was new to
Oh,
shooting the button. I was ripping that thing to shreds. I shot a
Oh
359
oh,
God.
MFA, and
my
then
shoulder just started hurting right when you
oh,
said
it was
that. I was
painful.
God
like,
Almighty.
oh.
I shot my first 360X with that bow, and I was ripping that thing to shreds. I was shooting a button, and oh boy, that thing hurt. And then day two, I ended up shooting a 599 with 58 X's. So it was by far my highest X count ever there. But
Yeah,
you know that
Good
thing,
God.
when you give up and you dip super low and shoot a four, it doesn't really work out.
No.
Um, yeah, so that wasn't ideal. So now
I
my
would say
system.
not. Like, how was your shoulder feeling after that
No,
weekend?
I was so fine. Honestly, I liked shooting the bow, but now I couldn't shoot that.
Holy
Even
crap,
when I shot
dude.
that M2 cam in 75%, it was like 21 pounds of holding weight. For some reason, it was like really stout. I couldn't really figure out why, but it was like 21-ish pounds holding weight. Now I'm like 18 and a half.
So that was
Like,
like what I was about to nail on was you're 18 and a half, I'm 18 and a half, but Jacob's at like 10 to 12. So that's kind of what I was wanting to say. It doesn't matter what your holding weight is. It's what shoot. Don't let the bow shoot you. You are to shoot the bow, whatever that means. You are shooting the bow. You might like it honest. 75% for me, I get left and rights because the valley's deep enough where I can lose pressure and it still stay on the back wall. I get left and rights. But for someone that might not yank the brakes off the bow, 10 to 12, you can just sit there, relax, aim, and not have to worry about a dang thing going on.
Hmm.
That I mean, so it's just everybody's so different. I mean,
Those are
uh,
fighting words, man. Those are fighting words. Watch yourself, Matt.
uh, but
But no, yes,
no, I completely agree.
but
Um,
yes, I do agree as well. And it. Please set up your bow to you. Don't like. Yes, it's okay to listen to myself, Matt, Landon, Paige, Louis Price, Jamie Lutz, Stefan Hansen. Like, if you're asking for advice, like, I remember going to Tim Gillingham when I was looking for a 3D arrow and I was shooting gold tip at the time. I can't tell you how long I stayed at the booth and he was telling me exactly what I needed to run,
take a
but I
guess.
had to go and test it. What's that?
Take a guess. 2.5 plus hours.
uh, I
Knowing
guarantee,
Tim.
like,
But
but
yeah,
everybody's so different. Like, everybody
exactly.
is so different. Like, and like, what works for them might not work for you. And they
Hmm.
like SE, both of them like SE cams. I can't shoot a SE cam to save my life. So like, it's everything's so different. So make a bow fit you. And like,
Yes.
advice is good, but you are still the
It's
person
not the
shooting it.
Bible. It's not the
No,
Bible.
no, it's
Don't
not.
take it as scripture.
That's why I don't tell
And
people my weights on my bars. Weights are a whole different ball game.
Yep.
Don't listen to people on what weights you run. I promise. Everybody's so different. Like
oh,
it's
side
so
note on
different.
that. Oh, you know how many times people come up to me is like, "Oh, hey, what you running?" And I go,
I don't know.
I don't know."
Like yeah,
I love just looking at, and they just look at me like, "How do you not know you're a pro and you don't know?" I'm like, dude, I'll be honest with you. I set up the bow, and if it feels good, I run it, and if
Yeah.
it doesn't feel good, I'm changing stuff. So
yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
All right.
But
Well,
yeah, that was when you said that I was like, yeah, I know I gotta say that little tidbit because it's funny
everybody's just so
because
different. Like
oh
I mean, but
yeah,
like even a back bar changes. Like a 15 to 12, your weight's gonna change. So like
exactly.
don't do weight because like for everyone else, PSC is like more front weight typically. But I know a guy that ran a crap ton of back weight on his, and he shoots it way better than most
Yeah, the
people. So
Dominator.
dominators do like front weight
Yeah,
usually.
they like that front weight. It's more like a um 3-to-1 ratio or a 3 to or a 5 to a 3. Front bar. I'm obviously using my hands, but front bar heavier than the back bar, kind of like that ratio I felt when I was shooting the Dominator. Now the Supra if we're getting into like the PSE talk, the Supra kind of likes that little bit of a different. It likes that either pretty stable weight. I'd have to say is like the ratio is more like um, 2 to 3. I found to where it was kind of pretty dead set center, but also the variation of the bow is different than a Dominator. Dominator is more of a straighter riser, except the grip is farther forward. But then that Supra is kind of the grip is farther forward than even the Dominator. So every bow is
Everything's so
different
different.
too. Oh
So
yeah.
different. I run 16 on the front, 19 on the back on my Dominators. That's for me.
Ooh,
But
ooh.
like, I know people that run
Ouch.
5 ounces on the front, so like it's so different.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
run 18 and 18,
yeah,
and like it's different for everybody. But like for me, 1-to-1's always worked.
I've always liked
And
one to
the only
one
time I
for the
didn't
most
was for
part.
that TRX 40 with 80%. I had to run, let's say, 20 and 26 to get that thing to hold. And that thing, dude, that thing felt so good, but it was
God
so
almighty.
heavy. Dude, carrying that thing on a field course, that thing sucked. All right,
Yeah, that's terrible.
but that thing
You
felt
were you
so
were that
good.
guy where it was over the shoulder like
I
that,
had to.
like in the Western movies, the calf on the shoulders, and he's hiking
Dude, it
through the
was the only
hills.
way. Dude, I got veins in my forearms holding that thing. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
was the only
crazy.
way. It was
That's
so
crazy.
heavy.
That's crazy.
But
Oh shoot!
all right.
You guys are making my shoulders hurt talking about 25 pounds of holding weight and then like 18 ounces of weight on both your bars. Holy crap! I need to go lay down now.
Just wrapping up real quick. If you want to give us any socials, people follow you. If you want to give us 2 guests you might recommend.
Yes, please.
We talked about off the podcast. You do your Sunday scripture. If you want to talk about that a little bit, and where that came from.
Yeah. Social medias. I've not really. It's not really like some weird name as Landon Standish. Instagram's got like 2 underscores on each side. Facebook is just your name. TikTok, I think, is the same thing. Um, I, that's what I've always done. I don't really post instructional videos on there on what my setups are, but you can always ask if you want to message me. I'm more than welcome to help. Um, there again, it works for me. Does not mean it'll work for you, but I will give you advice. Um, for the 2 guests, oh gosh, um, I would say to dip into the women's pros, someone that their story always intrigues me, and I love listening to her story, is Cara Kelly. Her story is so good on
Mm.
archery and how she balances being a mom and an archer at a very high level. It astonishes me. Um, and honestly, gosh, another one. I'm trying to like dip into people that like don't see get podcasts all the time because you see Braden's all the time. You see Tim, you see Kyle. Oh, I don't know, man. That's such a hard one because there's so many good. We'll go with Cara Kelly for one. Cara Kelly would be a
Okay.
really good guest to get. Just her whole story is really cool. How she navigates everything on her career. That's where I would go.
And just how much she's accomplished as well. Like
100%. It's
like oh
unreal.
my god, it's
Unreal.
unbelievable. And she is
Unreal.
the sweetest person you'll ever talk to. Like
Absolutely.
like you go to the Matthews booth and you wanted to just say she's always talking with everybody that comes up there. When she's on the range, she's always, so live and vibrant. Not saying all the other women pros aren't like that.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Kara right now. Is like I absolutely love seeing her and her husband Jason on the range. And they're just some of the greatest people in the archery community.
Uh, Starting the Sunday Scripture, if anybody would like to listen, I started in February of 2025. I've been doing weekly Sunday Scriptures where I read a Bible verse every week and kind of dig into what some of the meanings have behind it. I do not have my seminary degree. I'll put that out there right now. I'm just a follower of Christ trying to spread it to other people. I highly encourage anyone to read on their own time. Don't take my word for it, read it on your own. But I have a platform on social media. It's not like I got a ton of people following me, but I have a decent amount. And I feel like God gave me a calling to, if I've got a camera and I do photography and I've got all this social media outlook, that it would be a disservice not to spread it to other people.
Yes.
And now I've had so many people. I had a fellow, I'm not gonna say his name, but had a fellow come
Mhm.
up to me at Lancaster, and changed his like perspective on a lot of things, and has been wanting to explore his faith. And it's humbled me to beyond beliefs.
Mhm.
Um, I've had people message me on certain things and like how that goes. So it's been like just really cool. It's really humbled me on my faith journey. And I believe there's not a coincidence that my indoor season went as well as it did because I put him at the focal point of it. Like every match at Lancaster, I kept saying, and even on the stage, I said, "You steer the boat. I just got to row it." So I just
Mhm.
rowed the best of my ability and let him steer what a success would be if that's for someone to see my arm sleeve that I wear at tournaments says John 3:16, if that's to spark a conversation with someone, that might be a success for the weekend for me.
Yep.
Might no stage will outweigh that to me. So I let him be the judge of what a successful weekend is.
And
Nice, man.
not to put you on the spot, but with your Sunday scripture, why don't you give us your favorite scripture, and I'll go with mine, and if
Oh,
Matt you would like to go with your favorite or
golly.
one of your favorites, just one of your favorites. I'm not trying to put you on the
Yeah.
spot.
No,
I
no,
know
no, no. No.
there are so many in the
Um,
book that are just amazing, but if you had one come to mind now, what would it be?
be Jeremiah 29:11. God has plans for you to prosper in a future. God always does have a plan for us. You're never too far out of faith. You're never too far forgotten. You've not made too many mistakes. He does have a plan for you to prosper and a future to grow. And his plans are always bigger than ours. I can promise you. There's nothing we can think of that will come close to what his is. And that's just always a scripture that I tend to always bounce to in my Sunday scriptures, and I
Hmm.
think it's just because I apply it to so much of my life that he does have plans for us every day, no matter what
Yes.
up, down, thick, thin it goes through.
Amen. I love that.
Awesome.
Matt, you got
Uh,
one?
Mine is probably Psalms 46:1. God's a refuge and strength, very present help in trouble. I've been through a lot of struggle in my life, to say the least, even though I'm only 25. I won't get into all that shit right now, but a lot of personal stuff and all that. And I got my tattoo regarding it. It's God praying with holding rosary beads. I am Catholic, which is why. Um, which Landon and I have talked about thousands of times at this point. We talk about religion all the time. But yeah, like I don't know if Landon remembers. I don't even know if he saw it, but I hold a prayer card in my quiver, and it was funny before the stage when I walked out, my dad my dad texted. I had to put my phone on mute because my phone kept going off in my pocket, and put it on mute, and I didn't think about it. And I come out and I see a bunch of texts, and it's like, oh, Matt's so nervous, he's freaking out. I was like, Dad, I was reading my prayer card. I was like hunched over on a chair just reading my prayer card. Um, but that verse got me through a lot. Honestly, if anyone's interested, the Book of Job got me through a lot. Landed about
Yes.
it a few times. It is like my favorite book in the Bible, without a doubt.
Hmm.
There's so many other like great books. Obviously, honestly, all of them are great. For
Proverbs.
me, yep,
Love
like
Proverbs.
for me, the Book of Job just really spoke to me in the time in the life that I was at.
Awesome. Awesome. I would have to say, just to finish up the podcast here with one last verse, is mine is Micah 7:8, and it goes into, it keeps on going into 8 through 10, and it says, "Do not gloat over me, thine enemy, though I have fallen, I shall rise." And it goes into, you will see your enemies, um, be stomped like mire in the street, which mire is mud, is what they called it back in the day, and that's what the scripture reads. Um, because myself, I have went through a lot in my 29 years on this earth, and the biggest thing was being looked down upon, and um, when I've been just trying to do my best, and my dad was actually the one that gave me that verse, and I have it tattooed right here, right on my bicep, with my military sleeve that I have, and that kind of spoke because even though you fall, you always will get back up, and guess who's the first one that's going to hand you their hand? So don't, and that scripture kind of goes in a little bit deeper of don't ever forget he was there when you came into this earth. He's going to be there every step of the way, and he's going to be the one to take you home. So, and that's one thing that resonates with me. And I will never, ever say that he does not have each and one of you's back 100% of the time.
100%.
So,
100%.
All right, now for the second segment of the podcast.
yeah, another hour and a half. Let's go. Let's do this. Well, I think that was it as far. Matt, do you have any other questions for Landon?
Nah, man, I'm very happy to have you on. I really wanted you as the first guest.
Me as well.
We spoke about it already, but our dreams aligned at Lancaster, and when Jake and I were talking about doing the podcast, I was like, yeah, I really want to get him on as our first guest. So,
Oh, yeah.
100%.
very appreciative for you to come on and tell us a little bit about your story. And
Nah, thank y'all. That was great. It was good. It was a good little podcast, good little chat for an hour and a half.
Yeah, Landon, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you for sharing your story, sharing your archery setup with us. And I wish you all the success. I'll be watching you through the ASA, and anybody that watches this podcast, please follow Landon 100%. He's got some really good information. He puts out really good pictures, really good videos. You see him at a shoot, please come up to him and just say hi. Like, one of the best guys in archery right here. Like, we have a lot of them, but he's one of the real ones. So he would love to have a follow. And also, like, you see him, I know I just said it, but please go and shake his hand and everything
100%.
like that.
to
And
conclude it, tell him to get rid of his Yahoo email.
well, actually, should we do a poll? Landon, what would you say to a poll of Yahoo versus Gmail? Which one should you go to? How many do you want that say yes? He's got to get rid of Yahoo before you rid of it.
Oh, it can't be. I've got too many important things on my Yahoo email.
All right, we'll stop giving you a hard time about
All right,
that.
well, we'll
but
do it. We'll do it for you switching to right-handed.
oh yeah, let's do
There
it.
you go. Yeah, that works.
All right. Well, Landon, again, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and we really appreciate you being our first guest on the Primetime Podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
All righty. As always, guys, happy but not satisfied. Always strive for that extra inch. Always strive for that extra millimeter. Always strive for that better feel. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bam.